Hello everyone, I am the Weather Dude. Welcome back, and today we're going to be giving another update on Invest 90L that is going to be impacting the Southeast momentarily and very shortly. Before I start, however, be sure to like the video and subscribe with those notifications on if you haven't already, because it really does help my channel grow, and I know a majority of you watching are not subscribed, so hit that red button and we're going to get started with today's video. So the chances of 90L have been dropping in terms of tropical cyclone development, whether that be a depression, whether it be a storm. I just want to say, though, that doesn't really matter because we're going to specifically be talking about the impact it's going to have for the Southeast regardless of development, because at this point, chances look a lot less likely. Of course, the last time we checked, it was 50%, which was yesterday, and I remember at one point I think it was up to 60% chance of development. So it's still a low pressure located short distance east of Jacksonville, Florida. It's still disorganized. Less likely chance of development. These interests should monitor the progress of the system, though, due to brief periods of gusty winds and heavy rainfall. So that's the part I want to focus on today, because this still could be a pretty big threat regardless of any type of tropical development, because the name doesn't always matter. So here is the storm right now. Winds have dropped a little bit, so sustained winds of 30 miles an hour with the system, and gusts are higher than that. Pressure is about 1,012 millibars, so that's been pretty steady. And as you can see on the satellite loop, right, it's really not much. All right, but you can see there is certainly there is a circulation in there. We have seen some thunderstorms blossom and then just fade. All right, so that's the pattern we've been seeing with these thunderstorms here. Of course, once we get towards the heating of the day, the low is going to move a bit closer to the coastline. Might not make landfall until later tonight. We'll have to see depending on how the low moves, but it's moving pretty slow. If it comes near shore tonight, combined with the daytime heating, certainly could see some enhanced storms. Potentially more intense storms than the ones you would normally see on your daily afternoon basis. But we're going to have to keep a watch because this moisture enhance could be, of course, lead to heavier rainfall and gusty winds, like the National Hurricane Center said. So here's the current low position. This was just recorded a half hour ago. Again, low is sitting right about here. You might think, well, it's pretty close. It's going to make landfall like right now, isn't it? No, it's actually because it's moving pretty slow. All right, so it's not going to be quite making landfall just yet. Give it about a few hours, I would say, at least, before it makes landfall. So here is the low offshore here. All right, and we have some model track guidance that is just now coming out, and you can see it takes the low pretty much right through Savannah, then curving it, like booking it east, so pretty much through Charleston and then going back out to sea. Now, it's interesting because maybe if it goes back out to sea, depending on what's left of it, maybe it'll try again to develop. We'll have to watch that. But right now, due to its land proximity, I think it's not going to develop. But we'll see. Does it get a second chance off the coast of North Carolina? We'll have to see. Looking at some more track guidance, these are the GEFS model tracks. As you can see, pretty much taking right up eastern Georgia, then through the shore of South Carolina, and then pretty much going just like a kind of like a curve, like it's making a C motion, if you will, and then going out to sea. GEPS model tracks. All right, again, pretty much right in here. Of course, there are some models all over the place, and most of them do take it offshore the Carolinas, though. So definitely be on the lookout. Of course, some enhanced wave heights, some rip currents can still be a threat as well. New model intensity guidance has come out, and here is what looks interesting. All right, so here's hour 84. Right, but look how many models after hour 84. Look how many make it a tropical storm. All right, so there are many models now. Like I'd say at least 6. It looks like that do make it a tropical storm. But notice it's not right now in the next 24 hours, it's out further. So why is that? Well, if we go back to the model track guidance, where is the low at, say, 96 or 108 when they claim it could be a tropical storm? Well, look, 96, 108, so they have it offshore. So it could develop once again with the latest track guidance that's just come out offshore. And 2 models actually make it a Category 1 hurricane. So we have that's the SHIP model and the SHIP model, actually, and the NNIC. So the SHIP and the NNIC do make it a hurricane, but again, something to watch. So looking at where the low is right now, it's pretty much sitting. You can see the little pressure bubble here. It's sitting right up in here, and 83-degree waters are pretty warm. All right. Of course, I was saying in yesterday's discussion about it. If it moved over the Gulf Stream with some slightly warmer waters, it would have had a better chance. And it did. It got some enhanced thunderstorms and then died out again. So really nothing happened. But if we look at the waves are currently at about 5 feet. all right, associated with the storm system. But if you look just to the east, in that area of where we have a little bit more wind, 6-foot waves, right? So that's still pretty big waves if you think about it. Like, I've certainly been to the beach and I've seen, surf, like when, like the whiteboard they have at the beach where they tell you all the conditions, and the surf says 1, 2, 3 feet, and I've seen waves pretty big from that. So if it says 6-foot waves, that's still some pretty big waves. All right, and then those 5 or 6-foot waves will continue to make their way towards the coastline, but still, 3 to 6-foot waves are still pretty big waves. I just want to point that out. All right, and talking about the wind gusts now, or at least sustained winds or frequent gusts, all right, between 25 and 30 miles an hour offshore. But here is the low center right here. All right, notice this is 8 a.m., this is 11, this is 2, right? Remember, this light that I put down right here, that white dot, that's where the low was at 8 a.m. this morning, and this is 2 p.m. So according to the Euro, it really hasn't moved at all. All right, so I mean, it still could develop. That's why National Hurricane Center hasn't dumped it completely, because it still could, develop. All right, and then as we move a little bit more forward, all right, so again, here's the low pretty much sitting right here, making its landfall by 5 p.m. It's not a very slow mover. There's really not much to steer it. If you look to the north, actually, there is a high pressure system to the north of there that's kind of making a flow like this. That's why the low wants to move north, but the high pressure says no, and therefore the low is moving pretty slow. But notice, 5 p.m., look at Savannah. Winds of 20 to 25 miles an hour. Okay, Charleston, Beaufort, 25, and it's an onshore flow. So do keep that in mind. Now, I did look, and I will show you here for proof purposes. If you look at Savannah, all right, their low tide is 526, and these winds are shown at 5 p.m. So good news is the strongest winds will be happening at low tide. That's good as opposed to high tide. Charleston's high tide, I looked, is 5 as opposed to 526. All right, so that is good, but still do keep in mind that, of course, that doesn't mean that the rip current risk is gone either. Even though the risk for coastal flooding might now be lowered, definitely do want to watch out for some potential rip currents, and of course, the bigger waves will still be there as well. All right, so here we have the high resolution model. Again, this is what I wanted to really kind of focus on, is the rain, because of course the rain and some gusty winds will be probably the #1 threat with this. So here's the low, and again, you can see some of these thunderstorms that do spawn off of the system, they're pretty intense. Not your typical daytime thunderstorms, although I have seen daytime thunderstorms with this magnitude. All right, but again, thunderstorms, and again, once the low continues to move north, look at this complex that develops over Georgia. All right, so some we're going to have to watch right there, and then this is like overnight Tuesday into Wednesday, so this low could definitely spawn some pretty big time thunderstorms. Now, from that complex, of course, it ended right as the complex developed. So for the precipitation, it only goes out 48 hours for the HER model. So I can't really quite catch it all, but still over 2 inches anywhere in this purple shading. So, I mean, it's a pretty good coverage of Central Florida, North Florida, Southeastern Georgia, all right, and Central Georgia as well. So still some pretty big time rainfall is possible here. NAM model, here's the NAM model. Again, there's a low sitting offshore, and look, this is 5 a.m. right here. So let's go now to, so the low is sitting right here at this point. All right, so this is like 7 p.m. The low still might not be on shore yet. So it's going to continue to, if that low is present, it's going to continue to spawn those thunderstorms. Of course, more prevalent during the late afternoon, early evening, right? And of course, some isolated thunderstorms later into Wednesday, but the low at this point is pretty much offshore this way. So NAM model, how much rainfall could we see? Well, looking over in Alabama and Tennessee, maybe over 2 to 4 inches here. All right, but here's the low pretty much sitting here and spinning the entire time. So according to the NAM, maybe more of the rainfall is concealed towards the Georgia coastline, the east coast of Florida, and down the central Florida peninsula as well. Those over 2-inch totals in spots. Remember, not everyone's getting this, but in those spots that pick up the thunderstorms from Invest 90L, totals could be over 2 to 3 inches in terms of rainfall. And not only that, but it could come in a pretty short time. So flash flooding is also a possibility. All right, so FV3 high resolution. Again, look at the thunderstorm coverage that we have in Florida here later in the day today. So this is about 6 o'clock p.m. All right, and we head towards night. Things calm down. Then look at this. Here's the low center right here, and that low center is going to spawn some thunderstorms again right around the same time, 6 o'clock Tuesday. All right, and then they last pretty far into the night, kind of like what the HER was showing, a little complex there developing over Georgia. And then everything slowly fizzles out. So, rainfall totals, all right, through Wednesday morning. Again, look at those spots, and if you look close, you can see some reds. All right, that's 6 inches of rain. but 2 to 4 inches, I would say 2 to 4 plus, all right, in some of these spots here. All right, so some pretty heavy rainfall falling over this area. And again, some areas just don't really need the rainfall, right? We've been seeing these daytime thunderstorms for a while now because it's summer. All right, so thank you guys for watching today's video. Doing another video on the 9th update for the hurricane season. Big updates over there, so be sure to check that out. I am The Weather Dude signing off till next time, and I will catch you guys in the next video.